The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of Table Topics. If you're watching the show on any other day but a Wednesday, make sure to check in and get a new show. And I think I'm trying to figure out what camera. There we go. I'm in the right camera now. Okay. Anyway, yes. So we always have new shows on Wednesday. So if you're not watching this on Wednesday, check in the following Wednesday.
Very good. And you're right. You're right with the. Back on the day, they used to have a red light on top. So
yeah,
you know.
I know. It's kind of hard to tell. I know.
But they keep changing it. Yeah. They keep getting smaller and smaller. You see, that must be the new ones.
Yeah.
They got. So they keep getting smaller and smaller. So, but anyway. I'm glad to be back for another show of the Table Topics. Our shows are online. You can check them out on YouTube, Table Topics, and our shows will pop up. I know a few people check us the last show, and I have a couple of comments that was a very good show. We covered a lot of local and national, so it was a good show, and they're looking for the new show. And this person is Portuguese, but
really?
He speaks English. Yeah. He speaks English.
Nice to hear the feedback then.
Yes, I mean, he called me, hey, I saw you on TV. I didn't know you had the show. You still have the show? I said, yeah, I still have the show. Oh, it was good. It was a good show. So it's always good to hear from you and find out that we actually have at least one person watching the show.
Yeah, that's always nice to know, right?
So with that being said, and I'm going to be announcing that next week I will be out of town, so this show probably will repeat next week, and then in 2 weeks we'll be back for another show. That's the good news for me. The bad news for John is that this time he's staying behind. He's not going with me.
Yeah. Oh, it's all right.
You kind of.
It's too hot where you're going. I don't like the heat that much. You know, way too warm there.
But you're probably going to feel it like in 2 months.
Yeah.
You're probably going to feel it like in 2 months. Going to say,
exactly.
Carlos, there we go again.
Yeah. No,
and this time I'm staying behind.
Yeah. There you go. There you go. I hear you.
So going to your favorite place.
I know. I saw the thing there. So
it's going to be interesting. And next year I'm already working on the trip for the Santo Cristo. I have people on the list already. But next year we're going to be going by Fatima, Our Lady of Fatima in Lisbon, and then spend a couple of days there, and then from there coming to the Azores for the Santo Cristo. So we will be in 2 feasts in 1 week.
Cool.
Very good. Locally, we have City Council tonight again. I don't think it's nothing on the agenda. Really, it's gonna. I mean, more transfers. We already know that it's the last quarter of the year, and some accounts going low that they expect, and they have to transfer money from accounts to accounts. That never happens nowhere else, but happens in Fall River.
Yeah.
Because even in New Bedford, it's like you budget. We give you the budget you asked for, so make it fit now.
Yeah, exactly. I think I heard the other day, which is going to be interesting for the new fiscal year, that the Durfee money, that we had to pay out. They were trying to include that in the budget. I believe they did it for a couple of years, but they were saying that this year we're going to get the full amount of that override, which I believe was a couple $100, but we'll see. But that we're going to finally feel that impact this fiscal year.
But it was interesting because when when that project came to the tables and we were a project, the word was, don't worry, in 3 years we will be able to fit this on a budget.
Yeah.
So this is like 3 year, and after 3 years we're going to fit on a budget.
Yeah.
Yes, we're going to be.
Well,
they're going to fit us on a budget.
Yeah,
but
because they have the override.
Yep.
So that's how it's being fixed. And now we have the Diamond, which to me, the Diamond was more of a project. I mean, that school was built back in the 60s, and it's in way better shape than Durfee High School was, that was built in 1978.
Well, the difference is, and you know that, they have those job classes that maintain, they have plumbings, you know, they have a lot of classes there that they put a lot of work into the building to maintain the building. That's why we have the building we have. But I have to say this, the material they used for Diamond was a complete different material they use for Durfee.
Yeah.
And Durfee, I was not here, but what I hear, stories that I hear, was somebody even got jailed for.
Yeah, they did. However, I mean, you know what a good job the city does with maintenance, and they never maintained that Durfee. I remember going back when things were, you know, they'd have something in the auditorium, some kind of event, and you go there and it was just not maintained. You know, ceiling tiles falling down. I mean, that doesn't cost a lot to put a new ceiling tile up there. If there's an issue with something leaking, fix it. Why wait until it's a bigger problem? So I blame a lot of that on the city, the shape of that building. A building that's built in 1978, you know, that now we have to create all over again. In this area, 1978 is a new building. We have buildings that were built in the 1800s that people are living in, you know? So I fault a little bit of the city with that and the school department because they never maintained that building.
Well, we have schools that built 120 years ago and they're still standing today, like, you know, so.
Yeah. So it's, the
material that we use makes a big difference. And the homes are being built today, in 20 years, they're going to be trash because the material they're using right now is just make it beautiful.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But the material, I don't think they're going to last 100 years.
Yeah.
Like the old.
Yeah, the old
things.
Yeah, I still think no matter what, you know, you can see a house that's maybe 30 years old and it looks like trash. And then you see a house that's 100 years old that's maintained. It really, a lot of times depends on how the people maintain it. And sometimes just keeping the yard nice makes it look better than it's with the yard all trashed. So,
Talking about the yard, are you guys doing anything this year? I know you had a contest, a yard contest.
Yeah. No, we haven't talked about that. We got to see, you know what I mean, what we're going to do this year. But it's interesting that you mentioned that because there's, and you've probably seen this on Facebook, there's a new restaurant in the South End, bakery restaurant, Christopher's on South Main. And they've really made a push. They kind of made their little area look nice. And we see, you know, in that area that's, you know, people are putting flowers and stuff and maintaining the front, cleaning the front of their areas, which has not always been something that some of the businesses and, you know, residents have wanted to participate. It's in front of your house, that's your property, even though it's a city sidewalk, the city is not going to maintain it.
Well, I can give you a couple of names on Pleasant Street. They used to do it, but they stopped doing it because people were stealing, you know, people were breaking the plants. They had to call the cops because they had the video on. People was just pulling the stuff out of the vases, you know. So it's like for one side, it's good that we see something. But I think we'll come to a point that if he sees that people is destroying what he's putting up, he's going to give up too. And that's the problem. I hope not, because it looks good. I drive by there every day with the bus. Looks nice. Yesterday, I laughed with my monitor because somebody was sleeping on the
Oh, on the bench.
on the bench that he had there. So he had somebody sleeping on the bench. So it's a good start. So
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, well, it's funny, and now that the new world we're in, there was our chief of police talked about it, the broken window theory, and I had read that book probably about 10 years ago. It started in New York City, because New York, like now, was crazy with crime, and people started trying to make things better, and the police looked at it, that broken window theory, to you got to get the little things, and then basically it kind of controls it. But if you let the little things go, then everything starts letting go. And I think basically I remember reading this in the book that I read. There was a woman that was in an area that wasn't the greatest, and she put one flower pot out there, and they broke it. She put it out again. They broke it. She did it for about 2 months. They broke it each time. Finally, after 2 months, they stopped, because they knew that she wasn't going to stop. So this isn't even fun anymore.
Yeah.
So it's all got to come back to that, and that's what we had here in the city. I think we still do to a point, but nationally,
Well,
everybody's so sensitive about everything.
I think a lot of streets and a lot of buildings the city has rules and regulations.
Yeah.
And the owners of those buildings are breaking those laws every day.
Yeah.
I don't know if we go back 10 years ago, Flanagan got this idea of painting the
murals and stuff.
exactly,
Yeah.
the broken windows.
Yeah.
Well, that puts a Band-Aid, but that Band-Aid, it's not even supposed to be there.
Yeah.
Because we have rules
Yeah.
that people should be fined
Yeah.
for not having the window there.
Yeah.
So that's why I think sometimes it's our own fault that we let come to this point.
Yeah. Well, I think you look at that nationally, even locally. We've said it locally. We don't need no ordinances. We need the ordinances that we have to be enforced.
Follow, yes,
And just like
yeah.
nationally, statewide too, we have the laws, enforce them. Don't create new laws. So until that's
And another thing that we're seeing nationally now a lot is, and we used to say, if you said 5 lawyers, every lawyer will have his opinion about a case. So our bylaws and our rules now, it's like you have your opinion, I have my opinion. It's like two sides of a regulation.
Yeah, exactly.
When on the paper, it's only one regulation, only says one thing.
Yeah.
So why are you interpreting for one way, that's what you want, and I'm doing the opposite from you?
Yeah, and that's the legal system. And I know the charter, I know they're doing something with the charter review now, but when they originally did it a few years ago, everybody was like, why do we have the charter? Because everybody fights these and then they win. Well, we made this rule, and the state has this rule, and then you can go to a lawyer and a judge, and they can decide something totally different. So you're hoping that people aren't going to sue you over that, but people have done that, and they have won. I mean, are they right? I guess that judge says they're right, but another judge might say no.
And that's the problem we're having right now is the law. It's one.
Yeah.
So how we have a judge deciding on the political sides? That has nothing to do with your political.
Exactly.
You could be Republican, you could be Democrat.
Yep.
The law, it's not Republican law or Democrat law.
Exactly.
It's a law of the country.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're gonna vote, we're gonna look into the law, and we're gonna vote different.
Yeah.
How that is possible? It's either it's the law or it's not the law.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And you have this now in the Supreme Court, right? Where most of the people are conservative.
5-4.
But how many years did we have most of the judges were liberal? You might have had 2 conservatives on there. But I totally agree with you. I mean, I think that
one time we had 3-6.
Yeah.
And the votes were 3-6.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Now we have 5-4. The votes are 5-4. How is that possible?
yeah, and well, it's because people put in their own opinion of what they think things are. You know,
Yeah.
they put their opinion in, and you're supposed to look at the law, not what you think, not how you feel bad about people, and that's what happens now, right? We feel bad, so we don't enforce certain things. And I'll give you the homeless situation. There's, you know, it's a terrible thing. I don't wish that on anybody. Drug problems, whatever they have,
Yep.
mental health issues, I get it. Terrible. But the thing is, you know, we have to do what's right. You know, this is what's right. Nobody is allowed to just like live in a certain place.
Yep.
You know what I mean? That's not, we can't do that. We have loitering things. Don't we have loitering? Because if somebody sits in front of a business, don't we have loitering laws that they can enforce? But, so yeah, it's just, but some people feel bad because they might add family members. I totally get it. I understand it. But this is the law.
And it will not be fixed until they found that something's wrong
Yeah.
to fix it. But what we have right now is, if I ask you, this is a white paper right here on top of the table. If I ask you, what color is that paper?
Yeah. I could say, no, it's white and black.
Exactly. That's exactly, because I have lines black.
Even though the majority of it is white.
Exactly.
You know
It's
what I
black
mean?
and white.
It's, yeah, exactly.
So that's what we have. That's exactly what we're dealing right now.
Yeah.
Is not the factually what it's in front of us.
Yeah.
Is the way we want to call it and the way we want to decide it.
Exactly. So somehow we got to get back to that. I mean, I don't remember.
We have to, because this country was built on those laws, worked until now.
Yeah.
All this time worked until now. Just because some people don't agree with you, you're not going to change things to make them feel better. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh, no, I agree entirely what you're saying.
And this has nothing to do with Republican or Democrat or independent.
Yeah.
You know, the color of this paper has nothing to do if my opinion is any other.
Well, and I think Fall River used to be that way. Fall River is democratic city, liberal city, but if you go back 20 or 30 years, people were, in that sense, but they were still like, you know what I mean, you have to earn your own way. You know what I mean? If you want to bring people into the country, your family would sponsor people. That's how it was back then. I think, you know,
it's the way it is right
the party
now.
of JFK.
Because you know, I told you already, we were trying to sponsor my sister-in-law to come here, and the lawyer said 15 years.
Yeah. And
15 years waiting.
But that's what I'm getting at, Carlos, that, you know, I agree exactly what you say. So we have people that are coming into the country, and we're paying for their food, we're paying for their lodging, we're paying to educate them, and that's not how you do it. There's a process to follow. We let 1 million people into this country every year, legally. Legally, they come in, 1 million people every year. And then we have all these other folks coming in. We can't afford it.
We
just
probably
can't afford
have.
it.
I don't know how the immigration numbers are right now, because I stopped following the immigration numbers. But I know from Portugal, the numbers dropped a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of people from Portugal on the 60s, 70s, 80s, they were dying to come here.
Yeah.
Okay, but for the past 20 years, those numbers have dropped a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot. I'm going to say probably from 3,000 down to 100.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I think that they probably have a set number of people from each country that they can come in.
Correct.
So, you know, I think Europe is on, you know, they decreased the numbers tremendously for people coming here from Europe, and it's increased from all the other continents in the world.
So, and what I'm trying to say is, I bet that the illegal entries probably it's 10 times more.
Oh, I think I heard the other day they were saying during Congress, it's over 35 million. You know, over 35 million people that are not supposed to be here, that are illegally here. So it kind of gets back to what you were saying. I wanted to wrap this around because I kind of probably got you confused, got myself confused. It all goes back to, again, there are laws. We have laws that you have to follow, and people are just going around those laws. And when you say that's the law, oh, well, you're not, you're this, or you're against this, or you're against that, we have to stop that. We have to go by, this is what the rule is. Yeah, life is not perfect. Life is, is hard. So you have to do the hard, we can't be giving everybody a break on every single thing, because then it becomes chaos like it's become now,
And if we even bring this into local decisions that are being made, they are being made now, but the future generation is going to have a big impact with those decisions.
Yeah.
And we can give the example of the zoning board of appeals.
Yeah.
The decisions they are right now saying you can build a building with 100 apartments with 10 parking spaces.
Yeah.
Okay, that's going to be affecting the next generation, because we're not going back again. We're not going to go back to the horses.
Yeah.
We're going to go forward.
Yeah.
And 10, 20 years from now, those people are going to be stuck with nowhere to park their cars.
Yeah. Well, they're going to have to come up with solutions. I agree with you. They shouldn't do that. They're going to have to come up with solutions like they do in New York. Maybe they'll build carport, the thing, you see they drive in and they lift it, they put 2 other cars in, they lift it. In New York, they'll probably have to do stuff like that, I guess. But you're right. The decisions we make now are going to affect people maybe in 10 years. Like, oh, we didn't know there's an issue with water here now. Why didn't we do something with, the water or the sewer lines there so it doesn't impact everybody at this time? So I'm hoping that we're going to get on the right track with that, but I mean, we haven't for the last 30 years.
Well,
so.
the square there that we have on Pleasant Street, we are suffering the decisions they did 100 years ago.
Yeah.
Because that section should never be built the way they built it.
Yeah.
That they should have leveled that square.
Yeah.
Level up. I mean, a good 20 feet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
No, you're right.
To be level with the top of Pleasant Street.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we're suffering because we can just dump money in there.
Yeah. Well, you can't stop nature. That's a river there.
Exactly. Exactly. So I mean, we need tunnels there. Probably we need 20 feet high tunnels there. To square all the rain, the water that comes from all those blocks around there. We're not talking about one block.
Yeah.
If you go, I remember one year I went all the way to Mason Street. Okay, Mason Street the water was flat. You don't see sidewalks.
Yeah.
And from there, you know where the water is going to go.
Yeah.
It's down.
Yeah, down the hill.
It's down.
Exactly.
They have nowhere else to go. So, it's a lot of things that, and we should always think about, the future. We're not making decisions for now. We're making decisions for our grandkids, type of life that we want to leave them.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. No, you're right. I mean, I think going internationally on this is the whole BRICS system. All the countries, there are so many more people adding to that BRICS group. It's more of a monetary kind of group. And I think now they've got like probably almost half the GDP in the world going there. So, we've been lucky in this country that we have the reserve currency. So we can go boss all these people around. But when you don't have the reserve currency, what happens? So we see what's happened. Whether people agree with what happened in Russia and Ukraine, doesn't matter. What's happened is the U.S. has been threatening to take money that Russia has. Take their money out of our systems because they invested in our systems. Take that money. You can't do that. I don't care what they've done, what this war is that. We're basically cutting our own throats because who's going to want to put money into our system if when we get mad at someone, we take the money? You can't, you know what I mean? That's not how things work.
Yep.
So all these other countries are getting tired of how the U.S. works doing this stuff. We cut off Russia as a thing to stop them with Ukraine, and what they've done is got more and more people to join this whole BRICS currency. And maybe not in the next 2 or 3 years, but the next 5 to 10 years, there's going to be hell to pay for the U.S. and the European countries. It's not only us; it's the UK and most of Europe. We're all together. The other countries are all coming together to join that.
Well, another big problem we have too nationally is how we feed all these other countries.
Yeah.
How we pay for everything to these other countries.
Yeah.
And when come to us, we print more money.
Yeah.
That's the way we resolve our problem. We resolve their problem.
Yeah.
We give them real money.
Yeah.
Here's real money.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's really
guess
borrowed
what?
money.
Exactly. So, and now, guess what? I give money, but now I need money. Yeah, it's okay. We're going to have paper and ink. We're going to print more.
Print it again. Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, whenever people have looked, and I know we're getting to the end to close this up, but, Ray, they were with the Ukrainian flags. We just sent them money. That's money that could have been used here. Our roads are horrendous. To fix our infrastructure, we're sending all this money to these other countries to fight their battles. I mean, somebody has said Ukraine borders are more secure than the American borders.
And I believe it.
And if you say anything, you're against this, or you're this kind of person. So it really is. I hope that we can finally. It's gone so far to this end, it's going to have to come back this way again.
Yeah.
It's going to have to swing back. And maybe the only time people do something is if it affects them personally. So I thought with this economy that it would be affecting people, that they're spending over $200 to $250 a week in food and gas and all this other stuff. I don't think people have heard enough for them, because they would come out against some of these things.
The only problem I see of bringing this back is the right candidate.
Yeah.
We need to find the right candidate so everybody can, left, right, center.
I don't know if you're ever going to get the right
behind.
candidate. I don't know if you're ever going to find that, Carlos. I honestly don't think you're ever going to find that. Now, I'm looking at, and I know we're getting the end here, but Donald Trump had a rally in Wildwood, New Jersey. New Jersey is a very liberal. That area is very liberal. He had over 100,000 people at that rally. Whenever I would see things with Biden, you saw maybe 15 people there. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens this year. And one thing, I read this somewhere, that it doesn't matter who casts the votes. It matters who counts them. And you know who said that? Joseph Stalin. So think about that.
Very good, and we will be back in 2 weeks. Until then, have a nice week.
Yeah.